Pursuing a science-related degree? IMU Foundation in Science program equips students with the fundamental knowledge and skills needed to study medicine and health sciences. Discover the possibilities at our virtual Info Day FIS this Sunday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., including a live talk with Dr. James Walsh, Director of FIS. See you online this March 14th. Register now at imu.edu.my/FIS Day. Terms apply.
This is a download from BFM 89.9, the business station.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Enterprise Biz Bites, and you may be wondering, why does Frida Liu sound so different? Well, that is because, of course, I'm Christine Wong, and I'm joining Frida Liu in the studio today as a bit of a change up to our normal routine.
Right. This is very exciting times. Happy New Year, because I just came
Happy
back
New Year.
to work. And then, of course, over on the other side, the dark side of Imbangsa, we have Richard Bradbury.
Hello. Good
Okay.
afternoon. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? That's something we're going to be talking about shortly, isn't it?
It is indeed. So the question that we have for you guys on our social media today is, what is a work-related phrase you want to stop hearing in 2021? We've got the question up on Twitter and on Instagram. Just respond to us at BFM Radio. We're also on WhatsApp, 018-789-8899. Without further ado, I guess let's just get straight into the story. This is a story that I found on Inc.com about how people who adopt these 7 verbal habits in 2021 have very high emotional intelligence.
Okay.
So obviously, language is a very powerful tool in the workplace, and all these tips are they're designed to help improve your emotional intelligence, and they're just a series of short phrases to memorize that will improve your conversations and make it more likely you'll achieve your goals with others this year. So the first thing is just to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes I'll be having a conversation with someone, and then an hour later I'll be like, wait, there was something else that I wanted to say, and it was so good and it was so perfect.
Right.
And it's too late because you've said something less effective in the conversation. One way to have that happen less often is not to rush into saying things before you have to. A short pause can be sufficient, even just counting to 5 before replying. Now, you're generally recommended to just say that very quietly to yourself.
Okay.
Although if you do it out loud intentionally, that might be like a big power move you're sending to the other person in the conversation. But in short, silence speaks volumes, and when you're not talking, you're most likely thinking or listening. So the 5-second pause can be a very powerful tool. Number 2 is thanks, I'll check in tomorrow. This one comes from Warren Buffett, or is at least inspired by him. He once explained that the best advice he ever got was that you can always tell somebody to do something tomorrow.
Okay.
You don't have to react right away. In other words, it doesn't have to be confrontational in nature, but maybe you're just thinking about how to respond to a client that's emailing you at 12 midnight to express second thoughts about something. But maybe it's a business partner who lets you know that she doesn't like something that you spent the better
Right.
part of a week working on. And your response to that can just be, you know what? I'll check in tomorrow. I'll wait a bit.
Okay, so the idea is that when you say thanks, I'll check in tomorrow, it's like, okay, I know I'm going to be very emotional when
Yeah.
I answer or respond in any way. So let me sleep on it.
Yeah, let me sleep on it.
And then calm down.
Let me circle back to you tomorrow,
It's
right?
it's like when you write that angry email
Yes,
and then you
yes.
sit there with it in your outbox without actually sending it and
Yeah.
delete it. You just have to have that couple of minutes.
Exactly. The third thing is just 3 question marks. And what they're supposed to remind you is to ask 3 questions. It's just a random number, to be honest. You can ask 2 questions, you can ask 10. The point is to get yourself in the habit of asking questions as opposed to simply pontificating on whatever's on your mind. Emotionally intelligent people understand that the more you can keep conversations focused on the other person, the better they'll feel about the discussion and the more likely it is that you'll achieve your goals. The easy shortcut is just to ask more questions. The slightly more difficult one is to listen actively to the answers.
Okay.
Following on from that is number 4, say a little more. When you've asked someone a question, you can ask them to expand on it. And it's such a great all-purpose phrase because it indicates interest and it invites the other person to keep talking. It also fills in the gaps for you. Even if the other person has already made their point, it invites them to make it again.
Right. So I like that. Don't say a little more, especially the quiet ones, right? The introverted ones. With the more, exuberant ones, you say no more.
I feel like you're calling me out personally here, Frida. All right, fifth one.
you.
I like the fifth one because the fifth point is it sounds like you're saying. Often the most effective things you can say in any conversation is exactly what the other person just said to you. You don't even necessarily need to agree with them 100% or even even 10%. But starting with this phrase and then repeating back to them what you think you've heard has really powerful emotional effects. It's like mirroring, right? It means you're listening. It means you're being heard. And it means you're both involved in a true conversation.
You know, I find that when I do that, which I don't do often enough, right? You whatever they're saying, you're sinking it in yourself, and then did I get it right?
Yeah.
But actually, no, that wasn't what I meant.
Correct.
Okay.
Sixth one is, you might not know this, but, and this is specifically when you want to give someone a compliment, right? So instead of just saying, you did a great job on that presentation, or people know they can always trust you and count on you, if you just add, you might not know this, but you did a really great job on that presentation, it somehow makes the compliment have a much more intense effect than it normally would just by itself.
Right.
And the last thing is, let me ask you specifically. We're all so guilty of doing the whole preamble. You know, you log onto the Zoom call and everyone's just like, hey, how are you? How was your weekend? How was work in general? But this is the point where it's like, let me ask you specifically, how have your kids been doing with virtual school? Or, how has your partner been doing while working from home? Stuff like that.
Right. Okay. So you get a little bit more. Yes, Richard?
This feels like we are giving people a cheat sheet on how to do interviews on radio, almost. A lot of this stuff, you can watch or read Richard Bandler. He's written a whole bunch of books on NLP and communication techniques and that kind of stuff. But a lot of these are essentially primers for doing radio interviews, allowing people that breathing space to speak a little bit, the long pauses, which encourages somebody to fill that gap because they might be panicking a little bit, repeating something back to somebody so you're very clear about what it is that you've listened to and making sure that you've heard it correctly. So I feel as though by the end of this show, we might well be out of jobs.
It's almost as if doing an interview is the same thing as having a conversation with someone.
Almost, right?
Almost.
Yeah.
And it's really good because it's just simple phrases, right? And it just makes the person stop and think, right? Because it's also us. When we don't ask these questions, we're not really thinking. So when we ask these questions, we're getting ourselves to pause and also think what they're trying to say as well. Yeah.
Well, of course, we're not going to be the only ones having this conversation, obviously, with emotional intelligence and all that. We will be hearing from an expert later on after a few messages. But again, that question, what work-related phrase do you want to stop hearing in 2021? Get us on Twitter, Instagram, at BFM Radio, or on WhatsApp, 018-789-8899. We've got Thunderclap Newman with Something in the Air coming up here on Enterprise Biz Bites.
Bluff-free medium, BFM 89.9.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Enterprise Biz Bites with me, Christine Wong, and joining me in the studio is
Frida Liu.
Joining us on Google Meet is
Hello, it's me, Richard Bradbury.
Awesome. Well, the question that we have for you guys today is, what is a work-related phrase you want to stop hearing in 2021? You can get us on Twitter or Instagram at BFM Radio or on WhatsApp 018-789-8899.
Right. I want the word COVID to be removed.
So do I. It would be so lovely if the word and the concept and everything about that could be removed in 2021. Now, we've got quite a few responses here on Twitter. We've got Kenny Wong, who says, work from home. Not that I am against this, but hopefully the pandemic will have been well contained enough for this phrase to be optional and not mandated. We've also got That's My Full Name that says escalation, basically making mountains out of molehills and using it as a threat against stuff.
Okay.
And we've also got our very own Ross Yusuf, who says, unprecedented times. Let's have some precedented times back. Quite like that. What do you have on WhatsApp?
Nothing on WhatsApp. Oh, wait. Yep, nothing on WhatsApp.
All right. Well, then on Instagram, in that case, we have, let's see, Heather3086 says, do more with less. 8 Trera says, sorry, but could you look through this one more time? Brackets during weekends. And Stephen HSL says, can we have a 5-minute quick call that ends up way longer every time? So clearly a lot of people are feeling a little bit stressed about the language that is being used, especially in a work-related capacity. And we have, very luckily, we have an expert to discuss with us all about the power of language in the workplace. We've got organizational psychologist Hetal Doshi on the line. So Hetal, thank you very much for joining us today. What is a work-related phrase or term you'd like to see retired in the coming year?
The one phrase that I've heard repeatedly in 2020 through various clients is that these are challenging times or unprecedented times, and my people or we need to change. Now, this is such an unhelpful phrase on so many levels because emotionally it prompts a state within us of general negativity and anxiety. And on top of that, in terms of performance, it seriously fails to provide any kind of focus and a movement towards desired outcomes. Perhaps a better way to rephrase this in 2021 could be, guys, let's stay super focused on our clear goals, continuously find opportunities to learn and grow, and let's really set each other up for success. Please get in touch with me if there's anything at all that I can do for you.
All right. Super focus, super focus. So, Hetal, from a psychological perspective, how does changing the way we use language affect our productivity in the workplace?
While language not only affects our motivation and productivity in the workplace, I would stretch it to say that it absolutely even affects our health, our reputation, relationships, and potentially even our financial success. The reason for this is not because of language per se, but the fact that our language is given birth through our intentions. This is why many a times when we're angry with someone, we'll say, it's not what you said, it's how you said it. There's an urban legend by Albert Mehrabian, sometime in 1971. He studied the impact of communication and founded the what is now very famous 7-38-55 rule. He found out that 7% of our communication takes place through the spoken word per se, 38% through our tone, and 55% through our body language. So only 7% of our language or the spoken word matters. But it's our tone and body language that follows it, which essentially really is a physical manifestation of our intentions, isn't it? That becomes visible to other people and is experienced by others faster and more strongly than the words that we use. So definitely the next time we go through something challenging, it's valuable to first question our intentions and let language flow from a place of intentions that hopefully leads to desirable outcomes. There's a very famous saying that goes, watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. And watch your character, it becomes your destiny.
Okay, Hetal, when it comes to virtual corporate communication, especially like things like emails, WhatsApp messages, for example, what are some ways we can watch how we're using language?
Whenever we send out communication to the masses in the workplace, we tend to use the acronym CRASH to increase our chances of an impactful message. C stands for conscious and clear. Conscious being number one, because back in the days when people used telegrams, and so each word would cost the messenger. And so they'll be extra conscious about the purpose and the need for every single word that is used and wouldn't use any more than that. Clear is extremely important, or clarity is extremely important. And one thing that we tend to do is we tend to ask ourselves, if we send this out to a 15-year-old in any state or any part in Malaysia, would they be able to understand it? R from CRASH, R would be relevance. So sometimes people get messages that are absolutely not relevant to them. And if you do this repeatedly enough or regularly enough, people, the next time they see your, anything that comes out from you, they're just immediately going to right-click, move to trash folder. So you really want to make sure that it's relevant to the person that you're sending out to. A stands for action. A lot of times I find that this is the one thing that is missing in comms, which is, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? I understand what you're trying to say, but can you tell me precisely what you want me to do? S in CRASH stands for, so what's in it for me? I'm definitely going to do something that has benefit for me, and I'm probably going to make it a priority if there is benefit for me. If there is no benefit, nothing in it for me, then this is again a very high chance of me wanting to right click and move this to trash folder. Lastly, what we realize is humor, or humor me. The H in Crash is on humor me, meaning try to make the content humorous enough, I guess, and enlightening enough, different enough, so that the person actually, at least gets a kick out of investing their 10, 20 seconds of their time, if not more.
Mm-hmm. And our final question for you, Hetal, is what is a work-related verbal habit you'd like to see become more popular in 2021?
So we ran a survey with our clients in 2020 and found out that these are the top 3 phrases that employees appreciated the most. The first one is a simple thank you. It's just amazing, isn't it, how basic these 2 words are and how little we use it with the level of real gratitude injected into those 2 words. The next one is take a day off. This one was cited as one of the top 3 as well because people were struggling, they needed a bit of time off, and when people around them could see that they were struggling and said, hey, just take the day off, they felt so much more emotionally invested in taking care of themselves and being better for the organization going forward as well. The third one that was really unique was the organization is operating in a much better space because of you, or I am operating in a much better space because of you. And so I think a lot of people feel dispensable at this period of time, and they're probably trying their best as well, giving people benefit of the doubt. And so phrases like this really makes them feel that they're not only adding value to the company, but adding value to the lives of other people as well.
Wow, I think that last part was really good, right? It's all about gratitude, I think, in these
unprecedented times.
I was gonna say trying times, but still.
There's a very cute comment here. It came over WhatsApp from Eric. And so a word that he doesn't want in 2021, pay cut.
Oh, that's fair enough. That's totally fair enough. Right. Well, again, the question that we are asking everyone on Twitter and Instagram and just in general throughout the show today is what is a work-related phrase you want to stop hearing in 2021? Let us know. Twitter, Instagram at BFM Radio, on WhatsApp 018-789-8899. After the break, Frida will be talking about why companies need intrapreneurship.
Mm-hmm. Stay tuned. BFM 89.9.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. To find more great interviews, go to bfm.my or find us on iTunes. BFM 89.9, the business station.